From sets that made LEGO what it is today, to a banned theme that people loved so much, LEGO just had to bring it back. These are some of the most loved LEGO items of all time, and what better way to start than with the first set LEGO ever made with bricks, the LEGO gift package from 1949. Technically speaking, this set doesn't use the exact bricks we have today, but I'll get to that later. The gift package is in a super old theme called Mursten, which is a Danish word that directly translates to brick. Since this is literally the origin story of LEGO, they didn't quite have their names down packed yet. So instead of calling these bricks, bricks, they called them automatic binding bricks instead. The set came with a little over 200 pieces, but was meant to be built in a bunch of different ways. The only other milestone in LEGO's career that might be more important than this one is the first set with a minifigure, and that award goes to the police car from 1978. This set was in one of the longest running LEGO themes ever made, the town theme. It went from 1978, when the police car was released, all the way up to 2004, with the last set being this city airport set. I could talk about vintage milestones all day though. So what's a set that people love simply because of how cool it is? Well, one of the top contenders has to be the LEGO Technic Supercar from 1994. Now, I know this doesn't look all that great, but the reason people love this set so much isn't for its looks, it's for the functions. Not only does it have 4-wheel drive, but it also has 4-wheel steering, one of the main selling points for real cars back in the 1980s. That's not all though. This car was also the first set to have a fully functional V8 engine inside of it, and considering it's literally made of LEGO, that's a crazy feat. This set is over 30 years old now, but LEGO enthusiasts still consider it to be one of the best examples of just how good LEGO is for engineering. But before I show you the next loved item, let's see if you can subscribe in under 3 seconds. Go, go, go! Anyways, getting back to the items, the 80s and 90s were some of the craziest years for LEGO, and two sets that are still in super high demand are the Futuron Montreal from 1987 and the Space Shuttle from 1996. But it's for completely different reasons. I'll talk about the Montreal set first. Based on the name and how it's shaped, it's pretty obvious what this set is. But because of the time period and what LEGO did after they released it, this set is not only extremely sought after, but unbelievably expensive. To this day, people consider it to be one of the coolest ways LEGO's ever used their motors. You could switch the direction, control the speed, and even add switch tracks if you wanted to spice things up. Or you could just let the train go in circles until the motor died if you wanted to. Because of this fully motorized track system, the amount of pieces, and the fact that it was 1987, this set was exclusive even at launch. But the biggest reason it's still talked about today is because LEGO only ever did something like this one other time in 1994. For some reason, these are the only 2 times LEGO ever did something like this, even though everyone loved it. So combine the exclusivity with the super cool awesomeness that are these LEGO sets, and you end up with something that people really love. Now, about that space shuttle I mentioned before, it's sick. Like really sick. Since it's in the Technic theme, of course it has some incredible functionality, and after hearing about it, you're gonna think I'm crazy for saying that they're not even the best part. It works very closely to how a real NASA rocket did back in the 90s. So back then, this was probably the craziest LEGO set ever. It had a working robot arm that could rotate on multiple axes, a motorized cargo bay with doors that could open and close, and the satellite that's on that robot arm was also motorized and fully functional. Considering it was the middle of the 90s, this was genuinely insane for a LEGO set, let alone any other toys that were on the market. But if these weren't the best parts about this set, then what were? Well, how about the fact that it was made with brand new fiber optic technology that made it light up? Mind blown. Oh, and to add a cherry on top, you had to do this manually by cranking a little piece at the back of the ship. This space shuttle is only one of 4 LEGO sets that ever got this fiber optic lighting. Even though it was really cool, LEGO was losing a lot of money on this stuff. So instead of trying to optimize it, they just ended up ditching it. A lot of fans were pretty bummed about this, but before you start bad-mouthing LEGO, they don't run away from every fight. About 10 years ago, LEGO started making sets for the Simpsons theme, one of the longest-running and most popular cartoons ever made. But they only ended up making 2 sets for the theme before completely stopping production. Apparently, people didn't think that the Simpsons was exactly in line with LEGO's audience, and because LEGO is supposed to be super kid-friendly, the people just were not going for this. But these days, it's brick those kids, because LEGO LEGO has officially revived the Simpsons theme in the grand year of 2025. The Krusty Burger set is sitting on their website right now and is officially being released on June 4th, 2025. I never thought I'd see the day when LEGO made another Simpsons set, but I guess they still have a few tricks up their sleeve. Now, a big reason a few of these items are so loved is because of how exclusive they are. Usually, exclusivity alone doesn't change anyone's mind about how much they like a LEGO item. That is, until we talk about this goat piece. This is quite possibly one of the biggest memes in LEGO history, and it's based entirely on how exclusive it was. If you've never seen this piece before, you might be wondering what makes it any different from some super rare minifigure from Comic-Con or something. Well, the thing about this goat is that its exclusivity was a complete accident. It had only ever shown up one time in a set from 2011 in the castle theme, but people weren't just laughing because it was a goat. Stuff like this happens all the time with random LEGO pieces. It was the fact that the mold used to make this goat could only be found in that set. LEGO tends to reuse molds for other pieces to try and save money, but the goat is the only piece that's ever used this mold. So as the years went on and people started realizing what was going on, the goat became one of the most famous pieces in LEGO. It only recently made its second appearance, when LEGO decided to throw it in the 25th series of the minifigure packs. This is the only time something like this has ever happened with LEGO, but something that comes up a lot are milestones in LEGO's career. Usually, people are talking about the first sets in a super famous theme, whether it be pirates, space, Star Wars. If the theme is super famous, the first set is bound to be loved and in super high demand. But the first set in LEGO Star Wars is way more important than some people might know. Now, obviously, most of the love for this set is because it was the first one in LEGO Star Wars, but it was also the first licensed set LEGO ever released. Now in 2025, LEGO has tons of licensed themes like Harry Potter, Bluey, Fortnite, the list goes on and on. But if they never sat down with George Lucas and made that deal, who knows when the first licensed set would have come out? You know, now that I mention it, LEGO Fortnite is also a huge milestone in LEGO's career. We got sets based on probably the most popular video game in the last 10 years. But we also got something we've never seen LEGO do before. With their collab, Fortnite added a LEGO mode to their game. And even though it's basically just another survival game, this is the first time we've ever seen a LEGO video game that wasn't made by LEGO. Fortnite was doing their own thing way before they added the LEGO mode. So the fact that LEGO was even open to this probably opened a lot of doors we haven't even seen the inside of yet. We could see a huge spike in different video games in LEGO form, like how we got a bunch of licensed sets in the years after the first Star Wars set. It was genuinely one of the biggest things they've ever done. But one milestone that gets overlooked way too much is the first Legoland exclusive set. Now, sadly, I've never been to Legoland, but I know for a fact that they not only sell, but also hand out sets that can only be gotten there. Since LEGO made their first theme park in 1968, they've expanded all over the world while still keeping the number of parks relatively low. The most recent Legoland exclusive is this Park Portal set, but the first one is actually a little ugly. This is it right here, and even though it's Bionicle, let's just be honest, this set isn't all that pretty. These are some other sets from the Bionicle theme that were also made in 2001, and I mean, they just look a lot better. But I can't get mad at LEGO for showing some love with this exclusive set. Bionicle is one of those themes that just can't be replaced, and should have never been discontinued. LEGO. The theme started the same year that exclusive set came out, and if LEGO making an exclusive set for a theme that started in the same year doesn't tell you something, I don't know what will. The last set Bionicle ever got was in 2016, but this theme went way beyond the sets that got made for it. It was one of 3 super famous themes in the 2010s that had their own TV show, the other 2 being Ninjago and Legends of Chima. These 3 were absolutely running things in their prime. I mean, they were direct competitors with LEGO Star Wars, which was also in its prime at the time. Every kid who liked LEGO either had a Bionicle set or wanted one. This is a theme everybody still loves, but because of lower sales and LEGO Star Wars overshadowing everything else, LEGO discontinued it without saying a word. It left a bad taste in everyone's mouth, especially since Bionicle literally saved the company back in 2001. I know this video is about loved items, but I gotta hate just a little bit here. It was such a big misstep. Moving on on from that though, I actually want to talk about one of the most anticipated LEGO Star Wars sets ever made. It's one of the biggest themes in LEGO history, and it feels like they've made everything anyone could possibly want. But before 2023, that definitely was not the case. When LEGO Star Wars first started, the prequels were being shown in theaters, and years later, a TV show called Star Wars: The Clone Wars came out. This gave LEGO way more content to make sets with, and people were eating it up. This is one of the biggest reasons why LEGO Star Wars got so popular in the first place. But there was one type of ship that was prevalent in the show that LEGO could have done a way better job at making: the Venator-class Star Destroyer. With only 1,170 pieces, it pretty much failed at showing how huge the ship truly was, and flew under the radar for a really long time. Then, one day, LEGO dropped an Ultimate Collector Series version, and we all know what that means. It was big, it had a brick ton of pieces, and it was expensive. This is what LEGO Star Wars fans had been waiting for. A true representation of the ship Anakin was in all the time before turning to the dark side. LEGO nailed it with this set, and it quickly became one of the most loved sets in the entire Star Wars theme. That's pretty much how it works with LEGO Star Wars. If it's big, people will like it. But that's not the case with every LEGO theme, especially when you start talking about the Modular Buildings theme. These sets are known for how functional they are, or in other words, how modular they are. This theme was made for the fan that wanted to build a huge LEGO city in their basement, but didn't want to deal with finding the sets on their own. Every set in the Modular Buildings theme can be connected to each other, so if you wanted to, you could have a giant line of LEGO buildings that are completely seamless. There are only 20 modular building sets in total, which might seem a little low since the theme started in 2007, but every set is made very carefully and with a lot of purpose. The first one is worth about $3,000 these days, but look at it compared to sets made more recently. They don't look any different. They have the same level of quality and attention to detail, which is why people love this theme so much. It's basically LEGO's passion project, and it's easy to tell from what they put out. But if there's anything that most LEGO fans want more than anything I've already talked about, it's the first set in the LEGO Castle theme. Castle basically set the stage for the LEGO we have today. In 1978, they came up with a new business model, and instead of focusing on one-off toys, they wanted to branch out and take things to a whole new level. The sets were obviously a huge success, but the minifigures were unlike anything people had ever seen before. They were fun, had play features besides movable arms and legs, and best of all, they looked sick. It was the first time LEGO really did something based on fantasy instead of reality. And as a result, Castle is still one of the most popular themes in LEGO, even 47 years later. So of course the first set is not only incredibly sought after, but one of the most expensive LEGO sets on the market. Castle has a special place in every LEGO fan's heart, so I couldn't make a video about loved items and leave it out. I mean, that'd just feel wrong. But what do you love the most from what LEGO's made? Be sure to let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.